Stop. Before you renovate your garage, you must watch this video. Sorry, I hate titles like that. I don't know what jerk would ever use anything close to that. Willful ignorance. That's exactly what this garage renovation / finishing project of mine has been, all the way up until the point where I realized, holy bananas, I am so far in the hole on this damn thing that I need to just stop, pause, catch up on some other YouTube stuff, and, just pause, stop spending money. Not that I'm gonna, not finish it, but I just had to step away for a little bit, that's all. What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte My Bits, and in today's video I want to talk a little bit about the cost of renovating / finishing out your garage. For the purposes of this video though, I'm just going to refer to it as renovating. But willful ignorance, let's talk about that just for a second. If you're, a smart human being who wants to tackle a renovation project, you're probably going to plan things out. You're going to look at major costs, like the cost of lumber, drywall, insulation, things like that. You're going to take all of those into consideration, plan it all out, at least try to get a basic budget for what you're hoping to achieve with how much money you're willing to spend, and then you go all in. Let's take for an example, a fence. I've wanted a dog for a long time. In order for me to get a dog, I need a fence. I know exactly how much it costs to get a fence, upwards about $6,000 to $7,000, but I don't want to do that because I know how much it costs and I don't want to spend that much on a fence, which doesn't really make sense to me because at the end of the day, I would much prefer to have a fence and a dog than a finished garage, but hey, that's where we are. When it comes to this garage, well, I didn't really plan that much. I had a general idea about how expensive renovations like this could cost, but I didn't really know how far I would take it. See, to me, projects like this are like skydiving, If you get up in a plane, you get the parachute on, you get up to the door, you have into that moment when you jump out to back out. Once you jump, you can't stop skydiving. You're either gonna deploy your parachute or hit the ground, but you're not gonna stop skydiving, you're committed. And that's really how I fell into this rabbit hole of cost with this garage. It started with, I wanna insulate the walls. When you have no insulation and barely any barrier between your garage and your outside, I mean, we're talking OSB and, siding that is just separating you from the elements, things get cold or hot for that matter. So that's really what started off. If I'm gonna insulate it, obviously I'm gonna have to put drywall up or it's gonna look terrible. And that leads into, if you're gonna insulate and put drywall up, then you might as well add plugins because you're gonna want plugins throughout the walls where there's no plugins. So you gotta wire all that up too. And then you're adding new switches and then other additional plugins for other lights. And then you decide you wanna add lights. And the rabbit hole continues. And the next thing you know, you come to a ridiculous amount of money. So let's break that down, shall we? In case you're wondering, this right here is probably 99% of all the receipts related to the garage. There are a few that I know that I stuck somewhere and I think I washed them, so they're gone, AKA I left them in my back pocket. So I know there's some that are missing, so it's not gonna be 100%, but I also know that none of those receipts that I lost were anything significant. We're talking probably less than $100. But I have been keeping all of the receipts in one little area to add everything up. And everything today is going to come usually from Home Depot, Lowe's, or Amazon with a few miscellaneous things sprinkled in. And if you are by any chance thinking about taking on a project like this, I do have a recommendation for you, which I'm going to touch base on that could save you some money. An idea that was presented to me after I was already 90% done with the major purchases. And I would have been nice to think about that before, but here I am. So I've bought a lot of brand new things for my garage, some of which isn't even done and ready for presentation, like my toolbox, for example, where I still have 2 missing drawers because I've yet to organize my new wrenches how I want them in the foam. They've just been sitting there. They've been collecting dust. I've used them because I've had to go inside and actually grab a size and then go out and use it. But I just haven't figured out how to lay them all out the most efficiently. I added a new table. I added a wall control system to organize my tools. I even bought more tools just to add to the wall. I added a Husky air compressor and I got a little retractable hose for it. I added an extension cord that reels up to the ceiling because that is one of the most common things that I look for is the extension cord and plugging it in and then, dragging it around. This is probably one of the better improvements of this whole renovation. And of course I added the insulation in the drywall, the electrical outlets. I haven't added any insulation in the ceiling yet, but that is to come. But my biggest upgrade, the one that I am the most satisfied with, is the heaters. I cannot tell you cannot emphasize how spoiled you will feel if you live in an environment where maybe it could be 10, 20 degrees, maybe even lower, and then you have to get up to go to work in the morning and it's super freezing cold, but your garage is 65 degrees. Like, it's hard to just emphasize a new level of spoil that this will bring you. But I installed two 25,000 BTU gas heaters that have thermostats on opposite sides of the garage, keeping the entire garage at a level 65 degrees independently. So if one door opens or one side gets colder than the other, they will balance out automatically. This has by far been the best upgrade, and if I had to reverse time and do this all over again and I was going to skip the installation, I would have probably just installed these damn heaters and just be like, screw it, I'll pay the extra 20 bucks a month for gas that it costs that I'm losing, you know, to the non-insulated walls, and just have these things cranked up. But hey, no time for regrets. Moving forward, another upgrade that I thought was going to be amazing, but actually ended up not being as amazing as I had hoped, is the floor. That was a big ordeal for me. I went with the contractor who came up and screwed everything up, and I ended up just saying, screw it, I'm gonna do it myself. Spent, you know, thousands of dollars, well, $1,200 on epoxy floor coating from Rust-Oleum, and it turns out that they sell two of the exact same product, exact same color, but a newer and an older version, and they are two different shades of gray. So I do my whole floor using the boxes as I go, not realizing that the difference in the newer or the older ones are a completely different tone of gray. I contacted them, I ranted about it, and they ended up giving me a refund for the entire $1,200 that I spent on the Rust-Oleum product. I then turned around, rented a sander, went out, bought another, I think 2 or 3 boxes, and then put another coat to level out, you know, the color. The problem here is that it doesn't look the same. For the first coat, I literally used 6 boxes of epoxy resin when it said I probably should have only needed 4 to coat my entire garage. For the second one, used like 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure I used 2. So the coat itself was a lot thinner, and the sander that I used really just kind of like leveled it out, you know, took out some of the bubbles that showed up, and it helped, you know, just make it ready for another coat. So it wasn't like a deep sand. So I pretty much just put a layer of epoxy on top of another layer of epoxy, but the new layer was super thin. This wasn't by choice. I literally could not find any of the old product code. You can tell which one's new and which one's old. It's a stupid thing, but I could not find any more of the product, and I could not order it online because even Rust-Oleum says they have no idea which products are the old version and which products are the new version because it's the exact same SKU. So here I am, stuck with only 2 boxes, redoing my entire garage floor with the thinnest coat possible just to blend the colors. Now, I did factor in this refund. It was a $1,200 refund. I did have to go back and buy some more. There's also cost of like the prepping and etching and stuff like that for the concrete floor before you apply your coating. So all of that is included in this Excel spreadsheet that I created. And well, you know what? Let's just give you some numbers. So at Lowe's, I spent $1,952.70. At Home Depot, which was where I went the most, I spent a total of $8,106.76. Bear in mind, this includes new toolboxes, tools, tool sets, you know, everything. So that is a lot of stuff. Holy bananas. That's all since, you know, August when all this stuff happened. Next stop is Amazon. Even though I did make a lot of purchases related to the garage on Amazon, I ended up spending most of my money at Home Depot just because it was that same day reward. But, you know, things like exhaust fan, CO detector, hardware cabinets, stuff like that, all this was purchased through Amazon for $2,751. $2,751. Then I have rentals. This was basically the floor sanders, things I needed to prep the floor for the epoxy coating, and that came out to about $215. And then I have miscellaneous places, things like Harbor Freight for tools, Atwoods for tools, Sherwin-Williams for paint, Lumberyard for more aluminum, Mr. Heater, my heaters is a big thing. Again, like I said, that was probably the best upgrade. I hired a guy off Craigslist named Nacho to do my drywall, to put it up, because I didn't want to do that myself. So he's going to charge me $650. I paid him $750, and then a plumber for gas service call because, you know, gas. And that brings my grand total to, again, remember this is everything, tools, you know, all the upgrades, $15,285 But I wanted to get a better idea of what the actual cost of the garage was, because there's a lot of things that I purchased, like a paint sprayer, that I would have no reason to go out and run out and buy unless I needed it for the garage. And that would still be cheaper than hire someone to come in and paint it for me. Things like insulation, drywall, piping, heaters, things like that would stay, whenever I move. So I have to count those as just actual garage renovation cost versus other things like the new toolbox, for example. It's gonna go with me, all my tools in there, it's all gonna go with me. They're not gonna stay in the garage. But with all of that included, my estimated actual garage cost is just a little bit over $13,000, which is kind of painful because if you think about it, a renovated garage, do you really think that brings much? Like if you wanna resell your house? Like someone just show up to like, that's a nice garage. I'll pay $13,000 more for this house. No, I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't feel like it'd really be worth that much. Now, if you're looking at what I'm showing on the screen, you will see that there are some estimated savings that I mentioned here. And what that means is that I could have, if I would have thought about this or been told about this or brought it to light before I started all of this madness, and if I would have actually strategically made my purchases, I could have saved essentially 10% from everything that I purchased from Home Depot and Lowe's. If you don't know this already, which I knew about before, I just never really thought about. If you don't know already, you can go on eBay and you can purchase 10% off coupons for usually $8 to $10 each. These coupons will allow you to save up to $200 every transaction. That means everything that you purchase up to $2,000 worth of merchandise can be discounted 10% per transaction. So what I did is that I calculated everything that I purchased individually from Lowe's and Home Depot and divided that by $2,000 and then added in the cost of purchasing the coupons off of eBay and then calculated how much I would have saved if I would have had a 10% discount every time I went in to make a purchase within the $2,000 budget. Now, obviously there's some flaws in this logic. There's gonna be things that you run to the store to get that you're not gonna use a coupon on because it costs you $10 to get the coupon. So you'd really have to strategically make your purchases to be as close to the $2,000 as possible. Anything above or below that is literally just gonna be wasting that discount. So calculating the potential cost here, I could have saved at Lowe's $187.46 and at Home Depot $778.25, giving me a grand total of potential savings of $965.71 if I would have used coupons. But honestly, you think I could use coupons? I don't really know. Most of the things I didn't even know I wanted to buy until I went in there and saw it on the shelf. And I was like, I need that. I don't know what that is, but I want it. I'm not even playing. I have tools that I don't even know what they are. So all of this circles back to planning out your renovation. I would not have wanted to spend this much money on a garage. In fact, I regret some of it, most of it, but I absolutely love the heaters because it just changes so much. I've yet to install vents and my CO detector kind of goes off sometimes, but those are coming in Amazon, so I'm waiting for those to be delivered. I'm gonna install a vent, a powered vent, but it's awesome. You just don't stay in there for very long and you're okay. Now I still have a little bit to do, some final touches. I have to run thermostat wire. I have to mount a few things. I just kind of have to finish things up. And I know that I can probably finish it up in maybe 1 or 2 weekends. But for now, I'm just letting it sit because I have a few things that I want to install, like a new sound bar and things like that, that I just have to wrap up. Thankfully, I spread this out over 4 months, to help alleviate that cost. So guys, if you have any questions or comments about my garage renovation, please flame me in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys on New Year's. Like and subscribe and have yourself a good day. Wait, I think this is the last video of 2020. Shy of starting my live stream, of course, but this is the last video of 2020. 2020 is finally over. Yes!